Welcome back to the How to Finesse podcast, episode 2, with your host, the Jackal. I'm excited for this episode. We have a bunch to cover, so let's get started. Let's jump right in. Last week, I left you guys on a little cliffhanger, and thanks so much for all the feedback. First off, before you even jump into anything, I have upgraded. You see we have some better lighting here. And then I also got whatever this kind of microphone is called, lavalier. Got a lavalier mic. Upgraded my sound. Somebody was complaining about a Joe Winner, I heard you, over there on the radio station B103.9. Last episode, you guys remember, I finessed my way into hanging out with the owner of the Soho House's daughter, Tish Jones, and also Daniel Craig's daughter, Ella, James Bond. We were at a club, which will not be named, in New York. Bottles on top of bottles, own private table, walked in super VIP, just having a good time. I found out who the people I was hanging out with were VIP celebs, kept it hush hush, enjoyed the rest of the night. I actually ended up hanging out with them on multiple occasions. I remember one time we went to lunch at the Standard Hotel in New York, which if you're from New York, you know exactly where that is, the Standard. I'll roll some footage now. Shopping with this chick whose father has hundreds of millions of dollars. This was like a totally different experience. I remember going to a store in the meatpacking district, and it was me and Daniel Craig's daughter again, and then her. So it was just like us three. And when she went shopping, she was picking out everything she liked. She didn't go crazy, take over the whole store. I knew everybody who worked there. They'd seen her face before, so I'm guessing she's been shopping there pretty frequently. She just picked out whatever she wanted, and then she went to the register and was like,
yeah, so I'll just, come and pick it up, and we'll call you with information and the credit card number and, blah, blah, blah.
Like, she didn't pay for it right there. It was as if she was going to pay for it later, which I'd never seen that before, but that was amazing to me. Hung out with them. I still keep in touch with them to this day. Daniel Craig's daughter is actually an actress, and she's doing some theater stuff now. Tish, Nick Jones' daughter, is actually back in London. She was just here for school. Finessed my way into all that. The king of the night, got some great contacts. I'm talking about beyond super VIP, and had a great time. We're gonna rewind a little bit because this story right here actually deserves its own podcast, which I believe majority of this podcast is gonna be about this next finesse. We're gonna rewind a little bit, a couple months before I started working at the Soho House. I was at the restaurant and hotel called the Mercer, where Jay-Z and Kanye recorded Watch the Throne, and a bunch of other cool stuff happened like that. And then one day, I remember being a maitre d', so I'd always stand at the front of the door. I'd see who everybody came in, usually knew who they were or something like that. I'm being aware of my environments. We already talked about this finesse factor last week. Be aware of your environments. I could have been zoning off, not paying attention to my job because I was miserable, but instead I knew that the type of environment I was in, if I was just alert, there might be an opportunity coming around. So I'm looking around, doing my job. I noticed that one table, and he looks familiar. I don't really know who he is. I'm thinking he's someone in the industry. He looks like he's waiting for something. So I walk over to him. I say, hey, is everything okay over here? And he goes, oh no, I'm just waiting for my check. And then I'll go, okay, I'll take that for you. And then I take his check and I give it to the server. So then the server's like, oh, I'm really busy. Can you just run it for me? Run his credit card. And of course, as a maitre d', I had that authority. So I was like, okay, cool. I go to open the check booklet, take out the credit card, and it's a black card. Okay, so it's heavy metal, you could drop it, it goes it makes a big sound. So I'm like, okay, black card, cool. And then I looked on closer and it said, Arles Productions. So then I'm like, Arles Productions, and then on top of that it said Ryan Leslie. So that name sounded familiar. I knew he was somebody in the music industry and he was an artist. I didn't know too much more. So, black card in my hand, I run the credit card. Here is a major finesse factor. We talked about it last week, but I'm gonna run it back, and I may even run it back every week, called being brave and bold. I could have just gave him back his credit card receipt and his credit card and let him go. What do I have to lose, right? So what do? I take the business card from the Mercer Hotel, and I take a pen and I scratch off the Mercer Hotel and their phone number, and then I write my name and my phone number. And then I take that business card and I put it in the checkbook with the receipt and his credit card and a pen, and I give it back to him, put it down on the table and say, thank you, Mr. Leslie, enjoy your day. That's it, right? So I go back to my post at the front desk and I am looking around, you know, not being too nosy, but I'm just seeing what he gonna do. So I look over at him like this, and I see him pull out the credit card receipt, he signs it, whatever, and then he pulls out the business card with my name on it, he looks at it, and he just puts it in his pocket. So I'm like, okay, well, he didn't throw it away. So, I mean, well, the worst of my fears has already been not confirmed, so phew, I'm good. I'd say about 2 weeks later, I get a text. And I get a text from those of you in New York City from a 212 phone number, which not a lot of people have that phone number. You either gotta be from the city or you have to be like somebody elite because it's like an old office phone number. Now, you know, I got a 212 number because I looked up some Finesse, a 212 phone number. And it said, hey, thanks for taking care of me. When I come to the Mercer, what's your last name so I can add you to my contacts? Signed, Ryan Leslie. So my first instinct was like, yeah, right, whatever. Somebody's playing a joke here at the Mercer, one of my coworkers. I told him the story and they just messed with me right now, so whatever. But I responded anyway, gave my last name and said, thanks, no problem, come back anytime. I'd say about another week or two passed, but I don't really remember. I get another text from that same number, and at this point I was assuming it was Ryan, and he said, hey, what's up, Paul? You know, this is Ryan. I wanted to come by the Mercer. I know it's last minute, but I got a really important guest. Are you able to give me a table for two in the lobby? Now the lobby is a separate part of the restaurant where it's the hotel. You have to be a hotel guest to get in there, or like a super VIP, like Karl Lagerfeld will be sitting right there, Kanye West will be sitting right there, some supermodels over there, Lindsay Lohan over there, and you have to be really somebody, like, you can't just have money to get in there, you have to be status as well. Somehow, Ryan Leslie needed me for something. So, finesse. What do? I make sure I go above and beyond. Text him back, sure, Mr. Leslie, come on in. Without even looking at the books, we could have been completely packed. I didn't give a crap. I was gonna find him a table, it was gonna be the best table, and I was gonna make him look good. He comes in, I greet him, make sure I'm at the front door, walk him to himself, to his table personally, and then make sure he's okay. He wasn't fussy at all, he didn't ask me for anything free, he was really cool, and I don't even think I saw him leave, but he did thank me during his meal, and that was about it. So his dinner was great, it kept it moving. I didn't hear from him for a while, I'd say almost like 6 months. So in my head, I'm not gonna, harass him and text him. I was just grateful to even have that contact. So didn't hear from him for 6 months. By that time I had quit the Mercer Kitchen and I was back in Boston visiting some family. It was around my birthday time. All of a sudden, out of the blue, I get another text from Ryan Leslie. It says, hey Paul, I'm coming by the Mercer really soon. Same scenario, can I get a table in the lobby? I don't work there anymore, so it's basically, most people would think that they didn't have any pull. And I got fired, so I wasn't really in a good relationship with the management, to keep on doing business with them. But I knew this was another opportunity for me to give something to somebody and be of value to somebody and be of service to somebody who could change my life. So why wouldn't I do it? I mean, hey, at the end of the day, even though I was fired by the manager at the Mercer Kitchen, I was still cool with the staff. So that's really important to know. Finesse. It's cool to be, cool with celebrities and their friends and stuff, but when you're at these exclusive events, like let's say the Oscars or the restaurants or hip hop awards or something like that, it's always the staff who has the real pull, because the staff can get you past obstacles and hurdles and backstage and everything with no bands if you either know them, treat them right, or tip them. That's a finesse factor. Tip them, and you can make some things happen. So always be friendly to the staff, know the staff, just like Ryan Leslie was doing to me. I started to learn to do that myself, and I knew the staff at the Mercer Kitchen. I called them up, I'm like, yo, if there's ever a favor I need from you right now, this is the day. I got Ryan Leslie coming in, he needs a table in the lobby.
Oh, well, we're fully booked, but, it's for you, we can make something happen, no problem.
Okay, also, this is the other finesse factor. Attention to detail and make people feel special. Not only did I get him a table in the lobby, which is like super hard to get into, I also said, you know what? Get him 2 glasses of champagne and I'll pay for it. So I was willing to spend, maybe $50 in addition to getting him in there for free so that he would always remember me. and would always have something good to say about me. And sure enough, it paid off. I didn't even have to pay for the drinks. Of course, the bartender knew me. He just gave them to him for free. Ryan Leslie had a great time. His dinner was amazing. His client was super impressed because he got, glasses of champagne from Mr. Lewis.
Mr. Lewis. Finesse.
I'm finessing all the way from Boston, not even working at the place, doing my thing. Another finesse factor.
The finesse factor.
Keep good relationships. No matter what you go through in life, things aren't always going to be great. Things aren't always going to work out 100%. But as long as you have integrity, and the majority of the time, go back and build another relationship with someone in your past, that is a strong skill to have, and I always recommend that. He had his dinner. He had the champagne. I basically finessed Ryan Leslie. Ooh, now that I think about it, it's hilarious. And I got a text from him that night saying, yo, man, that was great. Everything went smooth. I love the way everybody treated me. My business meeting went amazing. What are you doing next week? I'm having a concert at SOB's in New York if you want to come. So at this point, I'm like, man, that $50 that I was gonna pay, that I didn't even have to pay, paid off. Finessed.
Finessed.
I just got invited personally by the celebrity to his own concert. I mean, like, come on, what else could I ask for? I'm like 20 years old. I mean, like, oh, I love to party. He's a great artist. I know a bunch of his music that he's produced. Yeah, even though I was in Boston at the time, I said, yeah, I'll be there next week. Just what date is it? Boom, there. Booked my bus ticket immediately because I don't like to fly. Was in there next week, and it was actually my birthday weekend. A few days after his concert, I was turning 21. So this was just like a dream come true and a gift from the heavens. Thank you, God. Meanwhile, the whole time I'm trying to decide, damn, do I ask for a +1? Do I not ask for a +1? Do I want to seem like I'm being greedy, but then I don't want to go alone? Finesse factor.
Finesse factor.
When somebody offers you something, don't get greedy. Accept what they offer you if you want it. Be reasonable. If someone invites you somewhere that's a VIP, that's a celebrity, I wouldn't ask for a +1, honestly. I would just go and, see what happens, because you might limit yourself by trying to bring on more people. A lot of the times these places are really exclusive and they have a certain amount of people that they can invite, and just by them inviting you is already like an extra bonus, them going out of the way. So just appreciate that and go if you want to go. I get to New York. I'm nervous because I don't have an ID at all. Not only am I underage, I lost my ID, which was a frequent thing that I went through. Please comment below if you were like 23, 25 and you were going through losing your ID like every other weekend, because that was my life story. So, didn't have my ID, so I got this super exclusive invite, but of course I'm not gonna text Ryan Leslie and be like, hey, I don't have an ID, bro, can you come outside and get me? That would have been super lame and I would have lost a lot of points. Another finesse factor.
Another finesse factor.
If someone invites you somewhere, don't call them, text them, ask them, hey, where do I park? Hey, how much is this? How much is that? How much is that? If you want to go and enjoy the experience, that person, especially if it's their own event that they're the star of, is already going to be busy rehearsing, helping up other people get up on stage. I mean, doing everything. They don't have time to be responding to your text on how to park or how to get in or can you come get them. Like, they're already expecting you to do the rest because they've already gotten the invite. Like, what more can you ask for? I don't have an ID, but whatever. I'm going along with the universe. I'm thinking good thoughts. I'm going to get in here. So that's what I'm telling myself, and I believed it. A huge line in front of SOBs. I didn't realize how popular he was until now. I mean, they love this guy as an artist, and plus Lloyd Banks was performing, plus Red Cafe, and a few other people were performing that same night. You know what? In my head, I was about to wait in the line, but then I said, let me skip this. No, my time is valuable, and I got invited personally by the celebrity, so I should be on some super duper VIP list. Why isn't someone out here grabbing me right now? Finesse factor.
Finesse factor.
Be aware of your image. Had I waited in line, I would have gotten checked by the bouncer for an ID for sure, and I would have had to wait longer, and I would look like a regular fan. I decided to, another finesse factor,
Finesse factor.
never wait in lines. If you're waiting in line, it says something about you as a person and your status in life. You have time to be waiting around for something, that means that you haven't made it yet, or you aren't used to just being whisked into places. So I knew that by clubbing, that waiting in line was for losers. So I just went straight up to the front of the line to the woman with the clipboard, and was like, hey, how you doing? I'm Mr. Lewis. I'm on a list with Ryan. He personally invited me. She pulled out a clipboard, looked.
Found my name. Oh, right this way.
So, walks me right in through the crowd, no waiting in line, no ID, bam, through the crowd to the front of the stage. I'm talking about the front of the stage. Here's a little metal barricade. I'm right there.
Have a great time, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The performance is amazing. He does a bunch of his hits. They enjoyed the show. It's about 2 hours. And after the show, I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. I enjoyed myself, but what am I going to do next? And before I can even think about what I was going to do next, somebody who turned out to be Ryan's assistant tapped me and was like,
Like, hey, you're with Ryan, right?
and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't even know what he meant, I was just like, yeah, well, you know, he invited me. He could have been, I don't know what he thought, but I said yes. I could have said a bunch of stuff like, what do you mean? What is this? And then I probably would have been out of there. Like,
Oh, no, you obviously don't know.
so, said yes, and he said, okay, come with me. So I go follow him. Yep, we're backstage. So we get backstage, and there's another line to get into the door, into the backstage room. So I'm like, damn.
Damn.
But this line was when people were a lot more like antsy and a little bit like more excited to meet Ryan. I was like, dang, what am I gonna do now? Nope, didn't have anything to worry about. The assistant takes me literally by the hand and said, hey, come on. Takes me, walks me up to the bouncer, who's this big dude. And he's like basically fighting people off and trying to get in the door. And he's like, he's with Ryan. And I'm like, I am? Okay. And the security guard just turns nice all of a sudden. It's like, oh, come on in. And like pulls me through the crowd of people. And now I'm backstage into the room. Phew. Phew. All right, this is like a maze here. I'm going through different levels, different puzzles. I feel like I'm playing a video game. And I made it almost to the end here. I'm about to fight the big boss. I walk backstage. The first person I see, who do I see? Lloyd Banks, backstage, rolling a blunt. So I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Get a picture with him, keep it moving. So once you're backstage, just maybe like a line, maybe like 3 or 5 people, nothing crazy, and they weren't acting crazy. They seemed like they were his friends, just waiting to talk to Ryan next. I walk into the room. It's like a dressing room. Ryan Leslie is leaning up against the counter, and I say, thank you for inviting me to the show, man. And he says, thanks for coming, and then immediately he compliments my boots. Now I had on some really nice custom joints that I got from like either Korea or Japan back then. They're all black with the black straps, combat, pointed toe. It was dope. Well, I appreciate you and your show was amazing, great show. So he said thank you, and then dead silence. So then I'm like, damn, what do I do next? I gotta say something. Where are you going next? So he said, oh, we're going to Greenhouse. You know, I'm doing a DJ set there and I'm promoting, you know, my next show. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then dead silence. So at this point, I'm expecting like another invite. I'm like, you already invited me to your show. Why don't you invite me to the club? But no invite. Run it back again. Finesse factor.
Finesse factor.
Be brave and bold. Say it with me. Be brave and what?
Bold.
After he's told me he was going to Greenhouse, I said, what time? And he looked at me like, and then he looked at his assistant and said, hey, what time are we going to Greenhouse? And the assistant said, oh, you know, about an hour or two. Ryan said, about an hour or two. Dead silence. My response, okay, I'll see you there. Dapped him up, left, kept it moving. I felt like I just made an empty promise I wasn't gonna be able to keep. I don't have an ID. How the hell am I gonna get into the club? I'm underage, and it's a super packed night because it's a celebrity going. I don't wanna look like a loser, so what the do? So I just waited out, and I just waited for about 30 minutes to an hour. I'm waiting around the corner in front of Greenhouse, and in my head I'm like, damn, if I go in and I know I see him, that'll be cool, but I don't have an ID, and I don't have a bunch of girls with me, so the promoter is probably gonna be like, nope, not happening. And then once that happens, I'm done for the night. He's not gonna let me in at all. So instead of trying to get in, I decided to wait. Another finesse factor.
Another finesse factor.
Patience. Have patience. Be able to scope out the situation before you make a move, because you'll be more likely to have more time to make the best decision. I'm laying in the cut, as they would say, on the block. And then I see a black Escalade pull up to the club. Now, if you're a celebrity, you know one of the cars that everyone rides in is a black Escalade or some type of black truck. Black Escalade pulls up right to the front of the club. And in my head, I'm like, okay, who's that? And then Boom, the doors open, 2 white supermodels jump out, and then Ryan Leslie. Ryan Leslie's hopping out the truck, about to make his grand entrance. Paparazzi flashing, everybody's looking up like, who's that, who's that? And at this point, right, talk about being brave and bold. I knew this was my moment. I decided to go,
Hey Ryan!
and then he looked up, lifted up his shades, and I go, hey, can I come in with you? And he looks at me and goes, yeah, come on. So, imagine this. There's so many different levels of finesse to this. I'm gonna break it down on so many different levels. Number one, I was brave and bold enough. Imagine that, a celebrity is making their grand entrance into a super exclusive event. And me, I'm on the sideline, making a big scene, interrupting all that. So he has to acknowledge me, otherwise he's gonna look like a jerk in front of all these fans and all these paparazzi. He acknowledges me, and then the other finesse was, I asked him for a favor in front of a bunch of other people. Like, bro, look out for me. In front of a bunch of other people, you've already invited me this far, why won't you go the next step? It's nothing for you. And he followed through with it. I mean, it worked. I walk up into the entourage. Maybe he has about 8 to 10 people with him. And I'm maybe about in the middle of the entourage. After I get in the line, I'm thinking I'm good, you know, I'm good to go, blah, blah, blah. But in my head, I'm like, dang, are they gonna check my ID or not? I don't know. It's like a 50-50 chance. The promoter comes over and says, okay, so who's all with you? Because a bunch of people had jumped in the line behind him, like trying to tag onto his group. So then Ryan turns around and he goes like this. You, him, points to me, him. I'm like, and then some other people. And then they're like, okay. Then the promoter leaves. Doorwoman comes with the clipboard. She says,
All right, I'll walk you to your table, Mr. Leslie.
no security check, no ID check, no pat down. The hot bottle waitress girl walks me and his other crew to the table. Now, if you've been to Greenhouse, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show some clips here of a Greenhouse now. But it has about 3 different levels. It has the regular floor with the peons all, you know, people holding their drinks, spilling it, hoping not to bump into the person next to them. And then it's got the next level above that, which is like, you know, the nice VIP tables, you got more space, you get a bottle, you got your own section, boom. And then they have one more level above that, which is usually like where the star of the night or the celebrity host goes, or the biggest baller of that night, looking down on everybody. So that's where we were. They walked us right to that table. There was no problem. I thought maybe once I got into the club, he would try to ditch me and not let me be at his table, but nope. I walked right to the table. The assistants remember me from the show, and they were really nice, offered me some drinks. They come out with the sparklers. I'm talking about vodka, Henny, tequila, whatever, champagne, all the drinks you can imagine, all of them right there in front of me. I'm chilling, partying with the assistants at the DJ booth. Ryan's on the other side. I'm just having a great time. I'm like, wow, this is the best birthday ever. And then Ryan's back and forth at the DJ booth, you know, hyping up the crowd. Thanks y'all for coming out tonight, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, woo, lit, I'm partying. Ryan and his assistants only stayed there for about 45 minutes. And then they're like, okay, we're about to head out. I found out Ryan Leslie doesn't even drink. His assistants were drinking, but there wasn't too many of them. All of them leave, they dap me up. I'm like, thanks Ryan, I had a great time, you made my night. He's like, no problem, anytime. Everyone's leaving me, I'm stuck here at this table by myself. But then I look up, and the bottles are like almost all full, because Ryan doesn't drink, some of his assistants weren't drinking. And I have 4 bottles of like all different types of alcohol, and the best table in the club to myself. And I'm like, what the heck am I gonna do? This is amazing. This is just like, this is called abundance for sure. You know, I believe in the law of attraction and the secret, and I know that there's an abunding and overflowing of blessings out there for everybody. And this was a perfect example of that. I'm here on my birthday weekend, no ID, barely any money, at a table in the most exclusive club with all the alcohol for myself. So what do I start doing? I start sharing the fun. I grab 2 bottles, I start going around. First I start getting myself, and then I start going around to random people in the audience and just start pouring them drinks, filling up their cups, pouring the girls shots, woo! And then I just invited a bunch of people from the regular, you know, peon section, and invited them to come up to the VIP and just had them having a great time, showed them the time of their life, all for free, and just shared everything. I had a bunch of alcohol. What else was I gonna do? And yeah, that is the Ryan Leslie story. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. That was one of the most memorable nights of my life, and there's so many different finesse factors in that. So after that party, I got a little bit worried because I was like, dang, I did a great job, I had a good time, but I was drinking. I wondered, did I turn him off? Did I get a little bit sloppy? Is he not gonna text me anymore? So next episode, you're gonna find out if he texts me back, if I got to know him, what happens, I don't know. Comment your favorite part of this video below, and also have a new segment going on for all the finessers out there. I want you to share a brief 60-second story or less of yourself, an example of when you finessed your way into something, so that I can talk about it on my next episode. Thank you so much for listening, guys. This has been the Jackal episode 2 of the How to Finesse podcast. Let's keep on finessing.